everyone. I'm Chrystal Rae. I'm an author, poet, a yogi, and a spiritual guide, and have such good news today. This is our first podcast of the series of And Then More Love. And I'm your host. And what we're going to talk about on this podcast is how to live a more meaningful and loving life. Basically, how to have a more joyous existence. Each soul is here for the bliss of its own experience, and that means you. So some 20-something years ago, I had a near-death experience. It was this horrendous car wreck. We were hurtling off a cliff. We fell 80 feet. We flipped 10 times, and I lived to survive. And I survived to talk about it. And here's what I want to tell you about that experience. In the process of this, I realized, I'm going to die today, which was kind of a surprise because I think a lot of times we believe that we're going to live forever. I mean, maybe not consciously, but unconsciously. And that moment of reckoning comes as kind of a surprise. I was like, oh. And in that, everything slowed down. And I found myself in this luminous presence. And in this presence, I felt so much love. I can't even tell you. There's no words to describe the kind of love that I experienced in these few moments between being struck by a car on an icy road, spinning off a cliff and hurling 80 feet before smashing, by the way, into an icy wall. And in this luminous presence, time slowed down. I was shown the entirety of my life, every kind act, every unkind act, and the ripple effect of that. And I was also shown that we have timelines. Let me explain what that means. That means that whatever your energetic resonance is right now, you are aligned with those energy possibilities. Let's just call it possibilities or potentialities. But if you were to make a different choice, like just a subtle shift in the compass, you would shift over to another timeline. And the reason this is relevant is because when I was in this out-of-body state, I was shown universes that were potential universes to come into existence based on going off a cliff. And one of them, of course, I would die. I would leave the planet, which was fine but in a timeline. But I remember when I was shown that one, I was like, oh no, then my children would be left orphans. Of course, they wouldn't because they had a father. But in that moment, it was like almost an instant download. I was shown all the potential realities for my children, where they would get married, they would have children of their own, they would go to college. I was shocked. I mean, seriously, my kids are fine without me. Who knew? So I had this great sense of comfort about that and kind of ease that my children would be okay. And then I was shown the potential timelines for me, of which I would come back and I would have some disabilities. There were so many timelines I can't even tell you. So what I want to talk about today on our first podcast is the one that I chose. This one, this timeline. I was shown that I could come back and I could tell the world that love is all that matters. And when I say the world, I mean you. Like you are the world. You are the reason that I came back. I came back so that you would know that you are so very loved. And this is not like a nebulous love. This love that I'm talking about, there's nothing to describe it. There's no opposite. There's no hierarchy. It is all-encompassing. It is pure grace, pure benevolence, kindness, compassion. It is all-embracing. There's nothing you could do to earn this love, and there's nothing you could do to be unworthy of this love. You are loved without conditions. And I was in this luminous presence, and I was experiencing this love, and I was shown that one of my timelines was that I could come back and write a book, which, by the way, I did. I just finished my book. It's Love Letters to Your Soul on Amazon now. And then I could tell the world that love is all that matters. So this has been my life path for the last 20-something years, is to prepare myself to meet you. So I had a lot of struggles to go through, as we all do on this planet, of contrast, choice, and change. I had a very trying childhood. I had difficult marriages, And all of this brought me here, sitting in front of you, most poignantly right now. And the reason that I'm here is because the entire universe, God manifests in every particle of light, is reaching out in the way most efficient to find you. And that's through my voice and my presence. I'm a poetic and pragmatic girl. I will speak to you in parables and poetry and really pragmatic terms because that's the kind of girl I am. That's the voice that I have. And that's probably just the right voice for you because you're listening to this. So I was also shown that nothing in the universe happens by default or random chance or circumstance, like everything, every single thing, like an ant walking across the sand, a bird in the sky, a leaf falling from a tree, the wind blowing through your hair, the sound of ocean waves. All of it is meant for you, to be part of your journey, to guide you, to heal you, to support you. Why are we here? That's a good question to ask. I know before this near-death experience that I had, my life was kind of about burdens. It was like, be a good mother, be a good wife, be a good ex-wife, be a good friend, be this, be that. But there wasn't a lot of joy. And it was kind of an empty and hollow life, even though it was very fulfilling. I mean, I had my children. I mean, I had some really complex relationships, but I was overall kind of just a normal, happy person. But there was like a flatness to my happiness. And I realized in this experience that each soul, by the way, I say I realized, let me be more specific. This luminous presence conveyed to me, and not necessarily like with words, but again, like a download, that each soul, including your soul, by the way, is here for bliss, absolute bliss. I was shocked. I was like, what? We're here for bliss? I thought we were sort of like just here to do what we're supposed to do, get through this life, kind of make a little bit of a difference in the way that we could. But it was more of a meaningless existence. I had no idea that I was supposed to be in bliss. And that joy is the breath that brings everything into existence, like the breath of God. And we're here for bliss. We're here to experience the experience of being alive, of being ourselves. And here's the thing about that bliss and joy. It includes everything: the dark clouds, the pollution, the horror, the famine, the sickness, the loss, the betrayal, all of it. The glory, the blossoming, the beautiful days, the butterflies, the birds, the grass, underneath your feet, the ocean waves, all of it's included as part of your bliss. I think most of the time what we want to do is we kind of want to push this away and pull this towards us. But in the poignant words of the Buddha, the root of suffering is desire. And what I was shown in this luminous space is that this bliss, this joy, this love has no opposites. So one of my mantras now is like, throw it in the fire of love. Whenever I'm feeling myself like pushing towards this, or pushing something away, or pulling something towards me, I lose bliss, I lose the joy. When I can be in the present moment, when I can just be with the blossoming flower, when I can just be with the dark clouds, when I can just be with my emotions, however they're showing up, then I'm truly in bliss. Then I'm truly a liberated being. So each soul is here for the bliss of its own existence. And that means you and me and we. And together, we are better. So, it may feel like sometimes that you're really all alone and that no one cares and that this is a cold and uncaring universe. But I want to assure you, if nothing else, through my presence, that is untrue, that the exact opposite is true. You are so very loved, that every hair on your head is counted, every breath that you take is noted, and every pebble underneath your foot is meant to be there. And these words, they found you today to remind you of your own magnificence, that you indeed are here for bliss, and you have a really important life journey, like a spectacular life journey that you're here to do. Each soul is here for the bliss of its own existence, but also each soul is necessary to the whole, like a piece in the puzzle. Without you, nothing would exist, even God. So there's a beautiful poem by Khalil Gibran that I love, and it says, if a drop of water were missing from the ocean, there would be no ocean. A grain of sand missing from the seashore, there would be no seashore. And if you were missing from existence, there would be no existence at all. That's how important you are. And that's why I'm making this podcast and why I'm reaching out to you, just to remind you how deeply loved and cared for your precious soul is. You don't have to be perfect, you won't be. But your life matters, and you matter, and you're so very loved. I love you so very much. Thank you for joining me on this podcast series. I'm excited to explore more of our spiritual philosophy based on love and just share this time and space with you. Remember that I love you very much. Check me out on crystalraesoul.com, and you can also get my book on Amazon. I'll see you soon. Love you. Bye.